now into Isaiah chapter 13. This is a judgment passage. We had a couple of nice ones before this, but I'm afraid we're back to judgment. This time it's a bit different. It's now against one of the nations, against Babylon. Now it's important to remember that the time Isaiah gave this, Assyria was the dominant nation. And Babylon was kind of part of Assyria. Now many years later, Babylon would actually conquer Assyria and would become the dominant nation, and its conquests would include destroying Jerusalem and taking many Israelites into captivity in Babylon. But at the moment, Babylon was not the major power. But God directs his judgment against her. And it's a bit like in Genesis, after the serpent has deceived Adam and Eve, and then there's all going to be all sorts of trouble. But God also says, I think it's Genesis 3:15, I might have got the verse wrong, but I think it's 3:15, that the serpent's head would be crushed. So Babylon would be used as an instrument of judgment against Israel, against Judah. But ultimately, she would be crushed. And Babylon is representative of evil. If you look in at Revelation, there is talk of Babylon in there. And it's kind of, in immediate context, representing Rome. More generally, it is seen as the embodiment of demonic power. Anyway, Babylon's had it. That's the long and the short of this. Let me just read a couple of verses. Prophecy against Babylon that Isaiah, son of Amos, saw. And it's noteworthy also that Isaiah saw this many, many years before it happened. Most people tell you that Isaiah 40 onwards was not written by Isaiah. In my opinion, they're talking absolute nonsense. One of the major themes of Isaiah is the absolute sovereignty of God, that he is the Lord of history, the Lord of all that's gone before, and the Lord of all that will happen. God knows what's going to happen. And Isaiah gave this prophecy many, many years before it happened. It says, raise a banner on a bare hilltop, shout to them, beckon to them to enter the gates of the nobles. I have commanded those I prepared for battle. I have summoned my warriors to carry out my wrath, those who rejoice in my triumph. Wail, for the day of the Lord is near. It will come like destruction from the Almighty. See, the day of the Lord is coming, a cruel day with wrath and fierce anger to make the land desolate and destroy the sinners within it. So, destruction's coming on Babylon. Now, one or two other, these are kind of technical points about understanding biblical prophecy. First of all, verse 10, the stars of heaven and their constellations will not show their light. The rising sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. I will punish the world for its evil and the wicked for their sins. Now, in apocalyptic passages like Matthew 24, bits of Joel, and obviously parts of, virtually the whole of Revelation, we have dramatic descriptions of God's judgment. And it talks here about the stars of the heavens and the constellations not showing their light, and the rising sun will be darkened. Now, what actually happened was, in simple terms, a straightforward military conquest. And yet here, very dramatic language is used to describe it or to predict it. So, we need to be wary of over-interpreting prophecy, i.e., looking at things where we talked about cosmic signs, think, that is definitely going to be an actual cosmic sign. Now, it might be in some cases, but it may also well be, and is often used in this way in the Bible, that it is a dramatic way of describing what, at least in superficial terms, is just a normal historical event, i.e. sort of things that wars happen. Also another point there, verse 11, I will punish the world for its evil and the wicked for their sins, and I will put an end to the arrogance of the haughty, and I will humble the pride of the ruthless. The wrath of God is never capricious. It is based on truth. It is based on justice. It is based on righteousness. I'll punish the world for its evil and the wicked for their sins. And just one final point from this. We go down to verse 17. See, I will stir up against them, that's against Babylon, the Medes. Now, so many years ahead, Babylon would become the dominant nation, would conquer Assyria, would also conquer Jerusalem, destroying the temple. And they would reign for a while, and then after that, it was the Medes who would destroy the Babylonian kingdom. And Isaiah is seeing this many, many years ahead. So, we see in this chapter, one, judgment is going out to the whole world, and we see that God is the Lord of history. Goodbye.